Last week I've been documenting my wiring system and going over a few things and catching up. It's been, I started this layout about 8 or 9 years ago. And I've forgotten a lot of stuff, and I was over to a friend's house, had a layout, an older layout, needed a lot of work. And I looked underneath, and the electrical system on that was a disaster. And I got thinking about mine, about some of the ways I put it together. Some I did good, but some of it I'd forgotten a little bit about, and I thought I would document that. So I thought I'd go over a few things that may help you out if you're starting out or if you're going to do a little changing. My thing is looking how to troubleshoot it. And the first thing I decided on was colors for the different wiring, which I did, because I used some 5 volts on my layout. I used some 12 volts in a little bit of a different way. I'll show you that. I control Tortoise switches. I do some controlling of bi-color LEDs, and I thought I would just kind of show you a few things that I did to try to do that. And for the last week I've been sitting down with some grafting paper and kind of drawing out a few things and reminding me of exactly how I did it. So let's go over a couple of those. I recommend using terminal blocks to manage your wires a little bit easier, and it's also a lot easier to troubleshoot. Some of the crimp-on lugs here, you'll need mainly some red, maybe a few of the blue for your smaller gauge wire, larger gauge wire. But if you have a problem, it makes it a lot easier to troubleshoot and go and look for that problem. I'll show you a little bit about labeling these. Also, another one for controlling that wire around your layout are these adhesive. You stick them on, and you can put a tie wrap through here, and then bring your bundle of wire and run that around. I find it a lot easier once you stick this on. Put a small screw up through here to hold it in place. So here are some of the bus ties. I spoke earlier about using color management, and like for my servo control signals, it's purple that goes out. Other ones, green is going out and controlling the Tortoise slow motion switches. And you can kind of see how things can get confusing with some of the wiring that's underneath here going to this control panel. Label, I try to label everything, and I just went back and actually did this starting about a week ago so I could remember where what was what. Numbering the terminal boards, you know, track power and 12 volts, 5 volts, just to keep things a little more organized. And down here is one of about 5 Arduinos that I use for different operations. And I sat down and took some time and documented those. One of them is after you write the script, install the script in the Arduino, what do you do with it? I recommend that you print it out and put that in a notebook someplace and keep it just for reference. If you require a different voltage than what you're running, if you've got your 12-volt power supply, these little voltage regulators, I find them on Amazon, come in quite handy to reduce that voltage to whatever you need. Sometimes keeping things simpler is better. When I started this project out with my turntable up here, I was trying to get the Arduino to program out to the different tracks, and by setting up these switches over here I could go out to the different runouts. I could not figure out how to get it if I wanted to take something from the blue track here down to the orange track. I would always have to go back to the main track and then go back. I think this would have been a lot simpler if I would have just used one switch to run clockwise or counterclockwise and do it all manually. But that was a lesson learned afterwards. Also here you can see I've got the bicolor LEDs, and they're fairly simple to work with. So it just adds something that if you want to do, and shows me that this track is open, this track is closed. Go this way. So that's easy to do, especially with a single pole double throw switch. You can do that pretty easy with a couple of 12-volt power supplies. Most of the Arduinos that I used were the Nano. You don't need much more than that. The turntables actually run with one of the larger ones, so I had to use a motor control board on top. But something that helps make that a little bit easier is one of these boards, and this board here will actually plug right into the top of here, and you can run your wiring here to the outside. To mount those, normally what I use is a couple of nylon standoffs, and you can find those at your local hardware store to hold those in place. These are a little bit taller. I've got some that are a little bit shallower than that, about half the height. So that makes life a lot easier. If you use DB20s for current sensing to do some of your controlling around your layout, sure comes in handy if you have a 3D printer. Just made these up with a slot in it so I could screw this into the bottom of the layout and slide the DB20 into it, hold it in place, and makes it a little bit neater than just hanging from underneath. There's no mounting holes for the DB20, so I thought an easy way to do it. And I've got a couple other, I used some printed circuit boards to hold some resistors for the LEDs underneath there, and I printed up small little trays for the printed circuit board to slide in just to hold it in place. Just an added note, as I was installing the decoders in my locomotive, I would actually write down what locomotive that went into. So if I had to go back and find the literature for it, I could find it fairly easy. So if you install the decoders, document it to the manual. In the notebook that I started putting together, just so I could remember things in my old age, just drawing it out on graph paper, listing the color of wires, and these are the three 12-volt power supplies that run the left side of my layout, terminal board on how I have these power supplies hooked into this terminal, and then I just took a picture of it, how I have it mounted up there so I could see it. A picture's worth a lot of words. Also in this book I printed out, I was able to find all my sketches that I used for the Arduinos, and I made a printout of those in case something happens and I need to rewrite it. I've got it there in the book. Hopefully I've given you some ideas when you're doing your electrical system. Keep it simple, easy. A little documentation always helps. So until the next time, and I'll try to get back a little bit sooner with some videos. If you have a great day, we look forward to seeing you again next time.